This podcast is brought to you by the Disabled But Not Really Foundation, a local Kansas City nonprofit organization that pushes to instill a physical limitless mindset that breeds courage, confidence, and competence within the disabled community. You can follow and support Disabled But Not Really on social media or go visit their website at disabledbutnotreally.org. Their work and their mission is to really impact communities and make more people understand the benefits of inclusivity.
I love it.
Same.
All right, we are live. We are live with our Sunday Safe Spaces. I'm April Jackson, and I'm so excited to share. I just told everyone how beautiful and brown they are, and I'm happy to share all these beautiful brown human beings with the audience, the world at large. And today we're talking about defining your truth. And we have some amazing guests who have done that and continue to do that and have created, in my eyes, success in doing so and continue to walk in that success. I don't know. I don't know which direction you're in, Wes, but on my side is my buddy, my partner in this crime of not being oppressed and standing up for rights of ourselves and everyone else is Wesley Hamilton. How are you, my friend?
I am amazing. It is truly an honor to just be on another platform with you, as well as everybody else that's here. So, man, this is an amazing topic. I think that we can really shed light to people of finding their truth and speaking their truth and being real to that. And so I'm just excited about this. I'm excited about all these beautiful faces, especially when they all are one tone. And it is great because the conversation means that it will be authentic and real and no filters are on. And that's what I love about it. And that's what I love about this space is because we can educate because we are comfortable within ourselves. So yes, I'm excited. Thank you, April. I hope everything is great on your end, and let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Okay. I love this. We wanted to give you guys a space to share who you are and what you do. So I'll start at the top of me. So I'll go Ta'lor, Joseph, and then Nakeia. Again, I don't know if it's mirroring me, but please share with us. Share with us, all of you.
Good morning, beautiful people. I am Ta'lor Pinkston. I'm the Heart Advocate. I am a self-love therapist, speaker, activist. I love talking about self-love and helping individuals go from fear to fuck it. Excuse my language, but that is what I love to do. I, believe that self-love is a coping skill, and I teach it and practice it like that in my own life. I provide programs and individual self-love therapy sessions. And I speak. I love conducting workshops prior to the pandemic in person, grabbing hands, hugging. That was all of me. But, virtually, we're able to still connect. And I really, appreciate being able to be in spaces like this and talking about the things that I do. Social media is a major platform where I get to share my truth, and perfect in the topic for today. And just really being open about my own journey, my own fears, my own mental health. I'm a therapist that believes that therapists need therapy too. I'm in therapy myself, and I provide therapy to others. It's just so important to me to be raw and transparent. And, in my journey doing that has just relieved so much of that perfectionist pressure that society puts on us as individuals. So that's a little bit about me, and I look forward to connecting with each of you.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And coping mechanism, right? Like the heart advocate. And you have green behind you, right? The heart chakra is green. The heart chakra is green. That energy center is there. So
yeah, it's also my favorite color. So it's so fitting, right, for the day.
It is very fitting. I love that. Thank you for sharing yourself in this space with us today. I appreciate you so much, Ta'lor. All right. Mr. Smith, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hi, my name is Joseph Vernon Smith, and I am a benevolence advocate, and I'm a member of the Autism Board I'm on the board for Autism Connection of Pittsburgh, and I have an award named the Joseph V. Smith Benevolence Award named after me. And since Monday, July 10th of 2006, I've been working at Giant Eagle in Crafton Ingram Shopping Center, store 646. And I have all the memories of how many days I worked and stuff to count. I have worked for the past 2,311 times. That's my truth of remembering everything. I keep notebooks of like what I did in those days and stuff. I'm on my 14th notebook. And my side job is being a photographer. I love to take photos of anything that inspires me. I use a mind map, and I like to get my ideas done. So I have my mind map right here, right now. So all my ideas and stuff for future references and stuff. It's sometimes these events are subject to change, but the fact of the matter is, I love to promote hope, love, compassion, inspiration, happiness, and benevolence. And thank you for having me on this tactical briefing about discussing the heart of the matter about how we destroy the malevolent stigma of systematic racism and all around malevolence. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing some of your practices with us. Because I think those are some things we can talk about today, how writing, how mapping, how some of those practices really help us, especially when we are trying to navigate through society and coming against barriers. So I really appreciate you sharing that part of your practices with us now, Joseph.
Thank you.
Hi, Nakeia.
Hi, April. Hi, Wesley. Hi, everyone. Ta'lor, Joseph. Thank you so much for having me. Amy as well. My name is Nakeia Homer. I'm an author. I'm a speaker, and I am a mental wellness advocate. I love to educate aspiring women on the subject of becoming the best version of yourself. Some people call it purpose. That's what I define as purpose. I'm a well-being educator and expert, and I spend my time speaking on self-healing and self-love. I believe there is no greater joy in life than to stand in your truth and to live your story. And a lot of people shy away from their story because they don't like the details. But I believe God is in the details. Every detail about my story brought me here. And so I make it a point not to shy away from any of it. I'm not ashamed of it. I like to say that someone else will be inspired by the part of the story that you're ashamed of. And so I spend my life sharing my story, teaching others to share, embrace, and leverage theirs. And so thank you. Thank you for having me.
Girl, and your calming spirit has always just like brought me into a place of being centered. And it's so beautiful because it also it's a quiet spirit with this pop of red lipstick that shows power and fire. And it's like your trademark. And I love it. Thank you for being open to my ask. Because you are a powerhouse, and I kind of leaned on the shield of our connection and our history. And I appreciate you joining Wes and I, because this is an endeavor that we both, Wes was on TV. I was like, oh my God. And we got connected. And that was just all coincidental, honestly. But we both said, no matter what, we want to do this. We want to walk in this purpose. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about anything but healing, because we are constantly healing ourselves, and we know we're not alone, and that we want to bring this to community to support ourselves and to support each other. So thank you, Nakeia. And Wes, I want to give a shout out for you all before I kind of go mute, but everyone watching, these are some powerful individuals here, just as we all are powerful. Wes has just been nominated for a CNN Hero, and he doesn't know, I keep bringing it up, and he has not asked me to bring it up, but I promise you guys, I got in the car, I took my son to school, I dropped him off, and I hear Wes's voice on CNN radio, and I was like, what is he doing on the radio? And the next thing you know, he's been nominated for a hero. I'm screaming in the car. And I was like, that's my friend. So, go on Wesley Hamilton's social media, and please, if you find it in your heart to support him, because he is a philanthropist and he was doing this before he ever came on screen in this way. And Ta'lor, you have such a large following, and Ta'lor reaches out to everyone. Like, I've seen her in a bookstore with women of all shapes, sizes, and colors, and giving of herself. And she continues to do that for everyone. So please follow her at The Heart Advocate. And Nakeia, your book, your writing, your story, Nakeia Homer is on social media as well. So you guys, please follow her. Joseph has put his photography out there, so he does have a website. So we will share all these things with you all. And you can always follow me, Coach April PJ. I just have fun on my social media, but my passion is to support and uplift and continue to bring healing for traumas that we are suffering through. So you all talked about your truth. Wes, do you want to kick this off, my friend?
Oh, I guess so, right? Yeah. Man, do we got any questions, or you just want me to just go with it? I didn't know if we had anything. I know from our talk, but I didn't know if we had anything particular.
Well, I do know that we did talk about, and Nakeia just kind of brought it up, and talking about kind of honing in on what your truth is. I think about that book, Essentialism, and when you focus and you harness in on one thing. Am I right, Nakeia, when you mentioned that? Do you recall that conversation? I think that would be a good jump start for us. And if you would like to kick it off, I would love that.
Yeah, I think that one of the issues I see in my work with people and this idea of truth is they don't understand the concept of polarity, where more than one thing can be true at one time. And because we hold ourselves hostage to our past truths, a lot of times it's difficult to stand in your present truth or to have a vision for yourself in the future. And so if we collectively share our collective truth, is what I'm saying, I think we'll have an easier route to this whole journey of truth. You know, I am who I am today because of who I was in the past. And so, you know, some people get to where they are and then they want to kill off, you know, who they used to be. I had a client last week. She said, yeah, I had a funeral for the old me. And I'm like, how dare you? You know, how dare you kill the person who brought you to this moment? How dare you kill the person who endured all of the trauma that you are trying to heal from, because they didn't give up. That person didn't give up. You're here. You know, how dare you not share that you're on the spectrum and you're living this beautiful life, inspiring other people because of what someone else might think? Or how dare I not say that I'm the product of teenage parents and I grew up in the projects because I'm afraid that someone won't see me as a college graduate and they won't see me as a songwriter who topped the Billboard charts. Like, one of those things are true and the other one can't be. And so when I share the message of truth, it's the whole truth. If you can't take the whole truth, then you can't take me. And I don't like to be in any space where I have to leave parts of me behind.
No, I'm sorry, Nakeia. I kept coming in because that was fulfilling. That was very fulfilling for not only just me. I think everybody's expression was like, whoo. And I like that we had you started off with that because, you know, I want to share this. I am literally now, like, of course, my platform continues to grow, right? So at least for me, there's the journey, you know, and you look at your story. I always look at my story as a book, and everything is a different chapter, right? Well, as my journey keeps going, well, the old chapters aren't being shared anymore, or they're shared in such a small bit. And I get proud of, you know, things like CNN Heroes, where they really speak toward who I used to be to show how I became who I am, you know, or something like that, where it's a storyline, because it goes back. And I always tell people, it's like, when people see me as this positive guy, it's like, but you don't you forget that I was born, raised in the hood first. And I had this mindset that led to me being shot and being okay with dying at that moment. And you have to understand, like, there's a whole lot of people with that mindset that I'm still connected to. There's a whole lot of people that I can't forget about. And even though I've risen above some adversity, I cannot forget who I am, because I am continually having to plant those seeds into those people, not planting the seeds to the people that are blind to what we have to go through. But that's where you're saying, like, if you don't share your truth, people don't understand, and it really doesn't resonate with the right people to help us grow. And so I just, I wanted to be brief on that, but literally my platform started to cloud my truth, and I started to find a way to just go unapologetic now. Because as a Black man, I am aware that I could die today, tomorrow, anytime, and that's my truth. So why would I hide my own truth just to make someone else feel comfortable in a space that I know I might not be in tomorrow? So thank you for that, because it was all right. April, I want you to kind of finish before you have to head out. So, but I had to.
No, I appreciate that. And that it resonated with Wes and I when you said it the first time, Nakeia. And that's why I felt like it was a great opening for this, because there is power in our history and in our truth. And how do we know that we're resilient if we don't keep talking about our truth, right? And to not be ashamed of our truth in any capacity. Like you shared, okay, I was born to unwed teenage parents, whatnot. My mother was grown. My parents were married. They got a divorce. I remember growing up, people don't like a single woman with kids. It's a hard struggle for us. So don't ever get divorced. So I stayed in a situation for a very long time because that narrative was in my head, as opposed to the narrative of my mother got out of that situation and was a survivor and a thriver and had an amazing career in the medical field. And I didn't focus on the power of resiliency and where I saw strength. I focused on hide. And that took a power away from me. And it's no one's fault except systemically. That's what we were taught. And so walking in our truth, and it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't deny where you are. I hear that. And beautiful. Ta'lor, I would love to hear where you come from and your stance on that truth.
I think under the system we live in, there's a lot of perfection. And for people of color, that pressure is even greater to behave, to perform a certain way. And I know that perfection is problematic, when we're talking about healing, because it creates this critique and judgment towards self and others. And it just passes on from generation to generation to generation. So like I was saying earlier about, I got my master's in social work. I don't really remember talking about social workers needing social work and therapists needing therapy. I don't remember that narrative so much in classes, but I needed that. I needed to hear that it was okay. And because I didn't hear that when I found out I was pregnant and was struggling with prenatal depression, I was like doing anything to avoid calling that therapist because I don't need that. I am a social worker. I am trained to be a therapist. So that's not something that I need. And it took me to get to like the darkest of my depression to be like, okay, I'm calling somebody. I need that support. And just giving myself the permission to not be perfect, to not always have things together, to be able to admit that I'm struggling, that I'm not okay, and addressing my anxieties, going back to therapy within the last couple months, because this time is tough. There's this idea that I don't know, therapists have it all together, or that, I don't know, we have defied and overcame our mental health, and we're not dealing with anxiety and our PTSD and our depression, but we're human beings with a history, with things that we are struggling with, just like anyone else. And that permission is so important to me. I practice it, I teach it. Give yourself the permission to feel, to be an imperfect human who is still trying, still thriving, still actively healing every single day. And, the more I give that permission, I think April said it earlier, we just give others the permission to do the same. Like it really is a community act. And I know Nakeia would agree that self-love is about community. Like it is not some selfish, individual, all about me thing. When I love on me, my daughter is learning to do the same. Like she is learning how to do that. That's a community act. And I just think it's so beautiful to self-love as a coping skill, to call a therapist if you need it. There are Black therapists out there who want to help you heal, who want to, normalize your depression, anxiety, these things that you are dealing with, because you're not alone. You are not alone. I think most people of color are functioning with anxiety, functioning with depression. Like we were born into this.
But we're not.
Yes. And we don't always get like the space to be someone struggling with their mental health. We don't, we grow up, it's like, we don't do that. We go to church, we've heard these narratives, and it diminishes our truth. And
Ta'lor, your mic going out. I couldn't hear you. That last part, your mic was just the last part, just the last couple seconds.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's happening, but I was just saying that relief
that
comes with the transparency is healing. Like it is absolute healing. That's the first step in anything, is being honest and aware.
Yeah, so we'll hear you real quick as well, Joseph, on this topic, but then we'll share what were some of the practices that we had to do to literally live into our truth. Because it's not just saying, oh man, I'm gonna just go out and speak my truth, because every day you're gonna be tested in a way that you're like trying to figure out, do you be freely open, or are you gonna do I hold it back, right? And so how do we let people know what are the things so that you can be truly authentic in your skin all day, every day? And I know the kid's going to hit really hard on that one too. But Joseph, please share like more or less of just, how did you find yourself getting into your truth, right?
Okay. How I found myself getting into my truth was back in high school, because at age 3, I was diagnosed with autism and stuff, and I didn't know about my autism until age 15 when I slid on a sheet of ice because of a Cavalier stunt at a winter camp retreat, and I found out I was autistic and something. My parents didn't tell me this because they didn't want me to hold me back from accomplishing my primary objective of doing well in school and stuff. I was like, okay, I have autism, cool. I'm not going to complain about something. No. Don't get me wrong. I had struggles in high school. I was bullied because I was different. And a lot of people said some unkind things. I no longer hold a grudge against them. But I hope they find healing within themselves. I don't hold any ill will towards anyone. The fact of the matter is that we live in a world that's filled with hatred, malevolence, and all this unimportant stuff like, hey, I want to be popular. Hey, I want to be on top. And we have to have an honest conversation with ourselves. Why are we hungry for things that we can't even consume? I mean, we have to be honest. Says, hey, why do you want to do this stuff? Hey, why do you want to prove a point to someone? You don't have to prove a point. You don't have to play any card, but to be genuine, And there have been times in my work that I've been accused of something. I was called the N-word by a person of my hue last year when I told my cashier at Register 11 that they had water under the register. And I told him to ring it up because I know I spot things a mile away beforehand, like what so and so a card of water detected or something. So I told that person had a nice day or something, and around 11:31 a.m. on that one of those days, the person called me the word that really gets me fired up. And I told the manager about this. I almost went after the person to see if I can still spot him or something. But luckily it didn't and stuff. I just let it go or something. It kind of makes me mad that people of us of our hue are fighting against one another. Another incident happened on my 2,301st time at Giant Eagle when I told someone who happened to be my hue to put on their mask or something. I told him twice or something like, don't tell me this. I said, sir, please put on your mask. And then he got in this spiel like, he was like, to paraphrase, you want to go right now or something like, my intention is not to quarrel with you. And he's like, yes, your intention is to quarrel with me and something. And they had to call the management up or something. And he had the audacity to paraphrase it. He called me a sellout and stuff, paraphrased and stuff by saying that Giant Eagle's using black people to harass other black people and all that other malign malarkey. And I was told that I do the right thing and stuff. If I see someone without a mask, I tell them, sir, miss, please put on your mask. I even hand them the mask to avoid causing an alarm. Now, some people get upset with something about masks. We're still in a pandemic here. And you got people on spring break that do not use accountability, do not use theory of mind and common sense. That's why you got Florida under lockdown, because people do not use common sense, and it's really starting to make me mad and stuff. I'm due for a vaccine on Tuesday of this year. And I hope if people start getting their act together, we can have small gatherings and stuff without raising the alarm about COVID and stuff. But we're not out of the woods yet. We have to come together and stuff, because this hatred is not limited to the African American community. It's limited to the Asian American community, and it really makes me mad when I hear about people being attacked. That tragic incident in Atlanta, which resulted in 8 casualties, that should never happen in the first place and stuff. We need to have a hard conversation about racism in this country, especially with what happened and the foolishness with the January 6th, in which people who supported who should not be named and treated going to Congress treated like it was a sports event and causing people to be hurt. That's not cool. We have to come together. So we have to get past hatred or something. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your party is, what your gender identity is, what if you're LGBTQ or what music you listen to. We have to come together. This is an all hands on deck situation or something. Everyone bleeds the same color. We deserve to be treated with hope, benevolence, and respect, and venerability.
Yes.
This hatred is not going to solve nothing.
No, so
all be the same color.
So Joseph, when you say that, right, because I love that, and we can go right into that, because hate sometimes is fear. Sometimes people are hiding themselves because they're hiding themselves through their hate because they're scared of their own reflection. They don't want to focus on who they are so that they can fix who they are. So like literally, I think, at least for me, I speak my truth of knowing who I used to be and embodying that. Like I think Nakeia was saying, like, I don't want to bury that person. I just knew I was that person, and that person helped me evolve. I think there's a quote out here. It's like, adversity plants the seed for growth. You know what I mean? And so I really understand that. And so there's a lot of people that would prefer to, I mean, I lived a negative life. Like every day I woke up negative. And it's like, why did you wake up negative? Because I hated who I was. So I showed that hate to the world. You know, it's a reflection of yourself. It's not really a reflection on how you feel about the world. It's literally how you feel about yourself. You know, and so sometimes, so now I want to, you know, we'll throw that back to now Nakeia. It's like, okay, where was that, you know, what was those practices that helped you, you know, begin to speak your truth? But then also, like, you know, as I share about the reflection part, you know, was there a time where you had to like understand, like, okay, I'm ready to just be unapologetic. I'm ready to speak my truth. I'm ready. Or was it always for you? Right. Yeah. So go ahead and let us know how you feel, because God is fired up in a little bit.
I think for me, it wasn't like necessarily a moment where I made a decision to speak my truth, but there was absolutely a moment where I decided to create and co-create and stand in my truth. So I like to share the story of when I was 10 years old. I was in a assembly of some sort with other at-risk youth, and there was a speaker who came, and she talked about the statistics that are involved in, social work, sociology, when they look at people who come from my background. So she said things like, if you were raised in a home where there were teenage parents, you're more than likely to be a teenage parent. Raised in a home with drugs and alcohol, you're more than likely to be an alcoholic. And she just continued to go on and on. And it was in that moment that I was like, I felt so, I always say, first of all, I was upset because I'm like, you're telling my whole story, all my business out here. Everyone's going to know that this is my life. Every single statistic she gave, it was the story of the people who were raising me. So that was one. And then two, it just didn't resonate. And so I tell people things only really penetrate you when they resonate on some level, when they resonate with you. And it just didn't feel good. I was like, I know who my parents are, but it's not going to be me. So I think I know there was a decision there to create my own life, to not be what other people decided I was going to be. But the other thing is, I think the beauty of seeing other people at their worst, but knowing the best of parts of them too, showed me that just because you behave a certain way or end up in a certain lifestyle or make certain choices, it doesn't mean that you're bad. We don't need to throw the whole person away. And so it's easier to accept your truth when you understand that there are multiple truths to you. And I think that's what it was. Like, once I realized that just because I come from where I come from and I have these circumstances, I can still. And I think if we sit in that still, I can still be this person. I can still do these things. I can still impact my community. Imagine being shot. I know people who are paralyzed and then saying, that's it. That's my life. We wouldn't be given this gift that you've given us. This gift of resilience, this gift of being a survivor, of being still a strong Black man. You can't be a strong Black man because you're sitting with us instead of standing next to us. Like, who told you that? Or who told those people who gave up that? And so I think that's what it was for me. It's in the still. I can be this and still.
Thank you, Nakeia, for sharing that and adding the disability factor, because I didn't find myself and speak my truth until I had my disability. And that's when I knew that, because I embody the stereo, like you just said, like I could resonate to everything around me. I was around hustlers and, and all that. So that's what I became, and so 21 was that fate, you dead or in jail, so I was shot at 24. I embodied it. I woke up, I was paralyzed. I always tell people that was a whole new community that in reality, I wasn't willing to accept those stereotypes. I wasn't willing to accept those stigmas, because now it was like, well, if I didn't die, I had to try to live. And I couldn't live in this defeating community because of the stereotypes people were portraying. And it was even worse for Black men, because there was what you could see as a Black man or a strong Black man. And then when something happens to you, you feel like you're weak. You can't be that strong figure, and it's like, you really can, like you said, it opens you up to being resilient. It opens you up to understanding what resilience was. And I started to embody that part of saying, like, I am stronger in my vulnerability. What I felt like was going to be my weakness of crying and pouring it out, well, I started to accept, and then I started to change, and then I became who I am, and so I love that you added that, because yeah, those stereotypes and things, if we can resonate, especially in the disabled community where it's not really shared a lot with Black people with disabilities, and, the representation lacks so much that you don't have a positive, strong image that you can relate to. So you fall right into things that now you going to resonate to, because you feel like you're a part of that community. And so that's my whole mission now, is to really show people that you can be strong and powerful and Black and resilient, with it, no matter what your situation is, no matter what your circumstances is, because there's more to you than this actual physical body, you know. And so literally, Ta'lor, I know you talked about the self-love aspect, and of course that was, I didn't share or drop that bomb, but it was self-love that helped that too within acceptance. So I want you to kind of feedback off of me and Nakeia and share your thoughts about that as well.
So, you know, like Nakeia, I can't like pinpoint a, you know, specific moment where it was like, I'm going to share my truth. What I do remember is how that like last 2 months of being pregnant with my daughter into having her and actually seeing her face and being like, this little girl looks just like me. And just being like, I don't want her to ever forget how powerful she is. I don't want her to people please and feel like she has to fit and change herself to make somebody else happy. I don't want her to settle for anything less. I want her to live her truth and know that even when she is down, that she is up. Like I wanted that for her so bad. And I knew that I can't just want that. Like I have to embody it. I have to show her what that looks like. Most of us are not raised in self-love households. We don't see self-care. We don't see self-compassion. We don't see, you know, self-empowerment. We might see a lot of self-esteem, but having confidence without action what is that? Like, what is that? And I was a very confident person, but I was still settling for less than what I desired in relationships, for less, you know, and thinking that I wasn't qualified to do all the things that I wanted to do. That imposter syndrome was real for me. And little things like that really just made me want to do the work for myself so that my daughter could see it and that she would, you know, grow up loving herself and practicing this stuff as well. You know, during that 9 months of pregnancy, the one thing that I love to do is write. I stopped writing. You know, that depression, most of the time, what happens is you stop doing the things to take care of you and you stop giving yourself joy. So when you're feeling down, those are probably the two things that you're not doing, taking care of yourself and experiencing and creating joy for yourself. So writing is that for me in both avenues. And I stopped doing it completely. My therapist at the time was like, you need to write. You need to get back to writing. So I started a blog. And the blog basically, you know, from 2015 to now turned into the Heart Advocate. It wasn't the goal at the beginning. I just needed to vent. Like I just needed to release and share my truth. But it turned into really just wanting to empower or help others to empower themselves to do the same for themselves. Might not be writing for you. But what is it? You know, what is it that's going to help you feel authentically you? Like Nakeia was saying, where's your purpose in this? And for me, it's helping people choose self-love and find it. We all need it. You know, self-love is for every nook and cranny of your life. And if you love you and accept you, you know, you'll accept the things around you, accept your past, your present life situation, your mental health, like all of these very real parts of who you are. So yeah, I would say 2015 was kind of that catapult into, okay, empowerment, because nobody can empower you. You have to do it. You have to empower yourself. So yeah, that was my truth.
And I love it. I love it. Thank you. Self-love is just, yeah, it's powerful. I didn't start reading until I got paralyzed. You know, they say, you know, you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. Nakeia, I fell into those stereotypes of everything. I'm telling you, like, I didn't want to write. I didn't want to do anything. I felt like my friends was going to talk down on me. Like, I don't even care what they say now. Like, that's how, you know, strong I am mentally. But it was literally, when I started opening up books, the books all kind of said the same thing. It was like, know yourself, speak your truth, you know, find that love. It didn't matter if the books were of people that wasn't my actual color, right? But it was all the same keys to success. It was really just knowing who you are, having faith, and going after it. And I'm like, man, seriously, right? Like none of this was something that was shared to me. So instead, I was looking for love from other people. instead of finding it within myself. You know, especially when you grow up in a certain way, you think that you can't love yourself because you can't love the life you're in. And that's where we go into gratitude, right? And so now I practice gratitude. It doesn't matter where I am in life. I have to be grateful for one thing, life, because now I have the opportunity to create the reality that I want, you know, and take control. But before it was like, how can I be grateful for life when I'm dealing with this or I got this going on? And it was like, because you don't see the power you hold, because you haven't found the love within yourself. There are people that have so much less than us, and they love everything about themselves because they face adversity and they had to accept to love, you know. And so let's talk about quickly, you know, about self-love and, you know, how did that allow you to really speak your truth? Like, so I'm sure as we all, because like Taylor said, self-love does have that power, but you have to empower yourself, right? People always like, man, who motivates you? I'm like, man, I have to get one. I wake up every day and know that I can't walk, right? Like every day I get out that bed, it's adversity, and it's harder some days than others, weather change, all that, but I still have to get out that bed every day. And so I always say, like, you know, the moment I get out the bed, there's nothing going to stop me. You know, I'm challenged right there. You know, it's like every day it's like, you can give up, you know, and it's like, no, I'm not going to give up. And I push myself because I know that despite my circumstances that I am more than that, you know. And so it's like, I have to always constantly remind myself every day, but that's just like Wes, you love yourself too much to be defeated by these circumstances that you can't control. But what you can control is yourself, your being, your mindset, how you love yourself, despite how anything else, how you react to things, your emotions, right? Like all of those things you can control. But I think a lot of people don't find that control because they haven't found the love for themselves first. And so, yeah, you know, what would you guys think about that, especially on a self-love topic? And Joseph, I'll let you share first, and then Nakeia, we can follow up.
All right. When it comes to self-love, we have to remember and stuff that it's okay to be kind to yourself. It's okay to indulge in material things once in a while. It's okay to cry. It's okay to get out of bad situations if something is not your speed. It is okay to enforce the sovereignty of your boundaries if someone disrespects you time and time again. We have self-love is caring about other people and stuff, standing up for what is right or something. If someone posts some stupid stuff on Facebook, you have a right to exile them to the unfriend zone. And you have a right to be yourself. You have the right to say, hey, this I don't quite get this. Hey, it's okay to ask for help. You know, we have to be respectful, and we have to watch our words and stuff. We have to not become the stereotype that people want us to become. I remember back in October 22nd of 2018, I was in this familiar antique shop across the street from the PBG Arena, and I remember. I love to take photos. I love to take photos of anything under the sun in all 16 cardinal directions. I was photographing these things upstairs. I took up my bag upstairs, and this guy had the audacity to stereotype against me because of my color or something. He said something that you're not supposed to bring bags up here, but don't worry. I know you didn't steal anything, assuming that he thought I had malign intent. And this wasn't the first time before. This happened in 2014. When someone said the black guy on the phone wants to know something about him, like, excuse me, this black man has a name. It's Joseph Smith. I didn't tell him that, but the thing is about it and stuff that, yes, I've encountered stereotypes before or something, and I keep moving forward. And also, there was this thing in 2015, this woman said something about this woman. It said I was in Market Square on a Friday and stuff. I like to take photos of drinks or something. And she said that, oh, we have watermelon if you like. I'm like, okay, I didn't really think about this and stuff. Okay, as we all know, the stereotypes of watermelon and stuff, and I just didn't think about it. And it's done a couple of years later, so I'm like, who the heck does she think she is for saying that? You know, another stereotype I encountered was back in around 2016-ish. It was a power outage and stuff, and someone thought I played basketball or something, and I had to correct her, saying that I'm not really into basketball, because he thought it was like discussing about our days. She mentioned about basketball and stuff. Another incident says, "Excuse me, I don't appreciate being called boy to anyone and stuff." I corrected. There was a couple instances I corrected during my time with Giant Eagle and stuff, and I made it very clear about different things. I even stood up for a coworker. Self-care is about helping others too. Stood up for a coworker and stuff, accused of being the B word and stuff. And I had a coworker that works in a department, and I stood up. I said, "I know this woman since 2006. I know she doesn't have an ill bone in her body. She didn't listen, and she just left or something. She thought she was being disrespected for whatever reason, and we have to look out for everyone and stuff. We all bleed the same color. We might look different. We might have different lifestyles. We might be from a different state. We might be from a different country, different religion, different orientation. We have to look out for each other and stuff. Doesn't matter what your race is. Doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is, what your gender identity is, what you identify as. Doesn't matter what religion you are, what political status you are, the color of your skin. Doesn't matter if you're of a disability. Doesn't matter what kind of job, minimum wage, maximum wage, whatever. It does not matter. What matters is we treat each other with benevolence and venerability. So say we all. And that's from Battlestar Galactica, Edward James Olmos. He played Admiral Adama. So say we all.
Yeah. I love it. I love that you were able to express self-love through boundaries. Because I think boundaries get a bad rap. You know, people think because you're setting hard boundaries or setting a line with how you're going to be treated and how you're going to be seen when you show up in your truth. Boundaries are everything. I've been studying self-love hard over the past few years for whatever reason. I thought for sure I loved myself until I started to really research. And one of the definitions I've kind of developed and not developed, but kind of landed on the most is regard for your own well-being. And I think if we define, like we're defining ourselves and standing in our truth, if we are that, if we have that conviction with the words that we use, I think that life would be a lot easier for us. So if you look at self-love as simply regard for your well-being, that means you think. The word regard means to think or to consider. So all you're saying is when I wake up in the morning, how I consider or think about my well-being, what I do to support and to advocate for my well-being, all of that is self-love. And with Wesley, it's like one of the things about truth is there was a whole bunch of truth that I told that wasn't mine. It was my grandmoms who raised me. It was my dad's and my mom's. It was the pastor at the church. It was the teacher at school. And I was just saying these things because I was told that it was true. And I think there's nothing wrong with kind of standing or borrowing a truth until you find your own. But I think that moment that you were referring to where we all were just like, you know, I'm going to tell my truth is probably those moments along our processes where we started to give back those truths to the people who lended those things to us and actually adopted our own. And so for me, when I see, my family who's still in the hood, I don't see them as people who are to be disregarded simply because of how they live. Going back to that word regard, how they see themselves, how they support themselves under the conditions that they had to choose from It's like our parents didn't have social media. On Instagram right now, Taylor, who's a therapist, can share all of the tips and tools you need to be well, to love yourself, to get over anxiety and depression. Our grandmom and them didn't have that. They didn't have a second. My grandma worked 3 jobs. She didn't have no time to talk about I love myself 10 times in the mirror. She didn't have time to think about whether or not she was doing the right thing or not, because she had to survive. And so forgive yourself for the things you had to do when you didn't know any other way to do it. That's self-love. And set those boundaries when you decide how you're going to show up and someone else tells you, nah, that's not how. You're a Black man. You don't do that. You play basketball. You eat watermelon, or you're a disabled or differently abled person. So, your life is over. There is no other choice but for you to just sit, collect your little disability, as opposed to creating wealth for your family and doing things that will change generations outside of your own family. So yeah, for me, self-love is everything. I say self-love sets the tone. If you regard your well-being a certain way, self-care is automatic. You won't have to convince anyone who loves themselves to care for themselves.
Definitely.
Oh my God, that was good. Self-love.
You talk about it.
God, did we all just feel fulfilled right now? Lord, no, seriously.
Precisely.
Self-love. Joseph, thank you for just your transparency, and like Nakeia said, boundaries is everything. People sometimes, even like what I've learned even in the disabled community, sometimes language, right? Like someone's calling you boy because it's a habit. It's because that's how they see you. That's how they see us. And it starts with you loving yourself to snap back and let them know exactly who you are so they can respect the next person like you. I think it's a book I read. It's I do a lot of empowerment calls. So Tuesdays and Thursdays I do a 5 a.m. empowerment group with people that just want to join. And we use this book called How to Own Your Own Mind by Napoleon Hill. And it really just shares like how to have that control, but also like Nakeia was saying, how to believe in others because you know that you had a journey yourself. You can't look down on people from your community. You can't look down on your family because maybe you've risen above the adversity. Maybe you found that self-love. You have to see them same as people and same as you plant those seeds to help them grow, or just be the example of what they have not yet seen. And so like for me, I'm always looking at, I don't look at anyone. I think it says something like true leaders believe in others. You know what I mean? Like true leaders have belief. You don't look down on others. So I move through the world now seeing good in people, no matter if they're at the lowest point of their life. It's like, what value can I provide to you? What value can I provide to you if to help you take control of your life? What value can I provide to you to make you feel comfortable and confident in who you are? My camera's messing up right now, but I'm sure y'all can hear me. And seriously, it's just that all around is the value that we need to look. We need to believe in others, family, friends, whoever. But, but also care enough about yourself and your worth to not be drained from those experiences. So you also have to constantly empower yourself. That's where the self-love and stuff come back at, and the practice and being able to talk. Because I know I can be mentally headstrong, but then if I'm giving too much of myself to others, it's a lot. So before we move, before we end it and move with our last thoughts and things, Nakeia said something about, getting up in the morning and speaking, and saying things. And it's the power of words to me, right? Like being able to get up every day and say that you love yourself, say that you're doing these things. Like, so I'm big on affirmations, which was not taught to me till later on in life. And these are things I teach my daughter, and it's like, what are things that you wake up every day? Because we face so much adversity, right? The other day I was looking, and there was a whole article about some Black man that was shot in his back 5 times. That happened. It was crazy. It was recent. I had to look at the date because you know how you look at the date like, oh, this is an old article before I try to vent about it. But it was really a recent article. I can't remember where it was, but I'm going to share it when I get it. But the whole thing for me was, okay, every day we wake up and there's something. If you come from the hood, if you're born in the projects, however you want to refer to your upbringing, you're probably going to find death from somebody that you're close to a lot. You know what I mean? Like, especially for me, there's friends dying every day. You know, and so with that, how do you stay headstrong? What are you doing? So for me, it's always affirmations. It's always allowing myself to know what my worth is in the world and how I can always be strong and resilient, but also be willing to heal myself in times that I'm hurt, times that I'm in pain. So what are practices, like Nakeia said, waking up in the morning? What are those routines? What are those practices? What are those, like, books, right? Like, if y'all have books that y'all want to share, this is a perfect time. We always drop books. And so, yeah, but when we're done, I will share my affirmations. But if you guys have any that you want to share while you're breaking down, I want to do that as closing for me. But please feel free. We can go with Ta'lor, then Joseph, then Nakeia, and then I'll follow up.
First of all, you all just went in on self-love. And I just really, really resonated with every single word. You know, for me, I know a lot of people love checklists. You get on Instagram and the Pinterest, and there's all these, here's how you take care of you today. Do these things and you will be taken care of. I just think that's another opportunity for us to practice perfection. Another reason for us to beat ourselves up when we don't get everything done on the list. I like to check in. I like to be like, what do you need today, Ta'lor? Like, what do you need? And then see what comes from that. So, you know, sometimes it's dancing in the living room. Sometimes it's take baby girl to the park. Sometimes it's walk around the neighborhood. Sometimes it's just lay here because you need to rest. You work hard. And just really giving myself the permission. You know, when I think about, you know, things like healing, when I think about coping, what comes out of that first is the permission, just the permission to be able to do these things, to say that I don't have to have it all together. I can take care of me. I can give myself what I need, just the permission. And then validating whatever comes out of that. How I take care of me is good enough. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to be Pinterest friendly and Instagram captionable. Like, it doesn't have to be pretty. And I think there's a lot of misconception around self-care and self-love. You do a Google search for it and you don't see anybody that looks like us. First of all, you Google search it and it's like, you got to have a lot of money to self-love. You got to, you know, be in a certain status to love yourself. No, there's a lot of self-love that won't make you go in your pockets at all. There's so much work that you can do that you ain't got to spend a dime to get it. And like Wes is talking about, these affirmations and just really not allowing it to come out of here, because we can't control the negative thoughts. We can't. Like, the thoughts are going to come. I like to say inner bullies, you know, fear, insecurity, doubt. We can't control that stuff. That's going to come. But we can control what comes out of our mouths. And what I like to do is, you know, if I catch myself saying something that is completely against my purpose, my worth, then I like to follow it up with some encouragement, some affirmation, some loving truth, because that's what I need to hear, even if that's not what I'm feeling and thinking in the moment. So, you know, I have a ton of affirmations, honestly, but ones that I'll say that I've been really, you know, repeating as of late, and mantra work is powerful as well. Just repeating the words over and over again. I am enough. I am doing enough. I am good enough. I am enough. I am good enough. I am doing enough. Like, just repeating those things. I am powerful. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am capable. You know, I am enough. Like, these things in repetition, it's hard not to feel that if I'm hearing myself say it. My heart is listening to me. Your body is listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth. So light and love, everybody.
Thank you, Taylor. All right, Joseph, hit us. What? I mean, I know you gave us some of the things that you do with the boundaries and things like that. So yeah, but I mean, man, your voice is powerful. First of all, let me tell you that.
Lose my voice in that. Try not to lose it drinking water and that. Yeah.
Nah, man, you're good. But seriously, when you speak, man, you can tell you speaking your truth, and you don't care, and that's powerful. So, like, you know, what are those things that you do every day to give yourself that reassurance that is okay, right, and that you can continue?
Okay, here's what I do every day. For the first of the year, I exercise almost every day since this pandemic. I do 5 sets of 20 crunches a day before breakfast, and I exercise. I review different things and stuff, check my social media and stuff. Sometimes take photos and stuff. Wish people happy birthday. I be kind to myself, and I have to realize and stuff that here's my personal quote: "Will is the enemy of fear." Because I'm a huge Marvel DC fan. Green Lantern. That's the thing. Green means will. Yellow means fear. There's an emotional spectrum. I'm not going to get into it because of time constraints, but the fact of the matter is and stuff, we have a more responsibility to help other people and stuff. Because a little thing I want to declassify for you, on the 21st of January 2004, I received my Eagle Scouts award. And I didn't have the ceremony, the pomp and circumstance ceremony, until April 21st of 2004. And I remember and stuff that I was afraid to tell people I was an Eagle Scout and stuff because I didn't want to make people feel bad and stuff. And I was very conscious and stuff. But now I can tell you, I put that on my resume, and it's canon to my resume. It's canon to my life. The Benevolence Award. It is officially 100% canon. It's canonical to my life. Canon means in continuity. And sometimes you can evolve or something. You can regenerate another person. It's a Doctor Who reference. Regenerate into the same person, but with a different skill set. Don't disrespect your past. Remember your past so you can learn from it. With great power comes great responsibility. We have a responsibility to use words appropriately and stuff. To stick up for people who are feeling oppressed or something in a benevolent way or something. And you know, the thing that we need to remember right now is we're all in this together and something. Pandemic or no pandemic, this is an all hands on deck. This is a 4-alarm. This is a multiple alarm emergency here. We have to be respectful to one another and stuff. Say, hey, that's not cool. Hey, that's not epic. You have to be good to one another. Stuff. You have to love one another. You know, you gotta be yourself. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to have your thoughts or something. It's okay to just don't act on the malign thoughts. Just be a good person. Like, remember in the first post-credit scene, the period-credit scene of Black Panther, we have to come together like one big tribe and stuff. The good movie. It's a pretty good movie. Rest in power, Chadwick Boseman. We have to be respectful to one another. So
But even with Chadwick, you know, I'm not going to hit that, but we know his resilience of his story and how powerful that was, of a black man not being defeated by how people were going to see him the moment they knew he was sick. And so, of course, we're not going to hit that. But yes, it was powerful even in that story. So you said a lot, Joseph. I think the one word that I can, you know, identify you as, if you're okay, is a person of empathy. Man, like everything you're sharing is empathy, man. You like, man, I'm speaking my truth, but still we got to love each other. We got to do this. We got to empower each other. And that's powerful that you lead with empathy in everything that you do. So I just wanted to kind of break that down. Nakeia, please, like, yes, I know you're feeling this, and yeah, share that, some of your practices. And if you got an affirmation or two, hit us with it. But if not, you can share your practice.
Yeah, like I said, self-love, self-care in particular didn't come easy for me. It still is not a go-to behavior. It's not an automatic behavior. I have to automate it in some way. So although I don't have a specific checklist, I do what Taylor says, which is check in with myself. Once I identify what I need in order to be well, because remember, self-love is regard for your well-being. Self-care is how you do that in action. So by asking myself, what do I need? I usually do season to season or month to month. And then I have a list of things that I can do to put into practice. So I don't have an excuse for not doing it. A lot of times we don't engage in self-care because we don't think we have the money or we don't think we have the time. If I can just go through my list of things and see what I can do today to care for myself, specifically regarding a need, then I can do that. So I try to do that every day. In the morning, I do what I call a daily setup. How you set your day up is how it will end up. So I try to direct my day before it even gets started by saying certain things. I have affirmations specific to my well-being. So if I'm struggling with belief, or last year was hard for me. I lost 2 people, my grandmother and my dad, within 3 months. So I grieved my way. I appreciate it. I grieved my way through 2020, like everyone else who had lost. So I woke up and I said things like, best case scenarios are coming my way and things are going to work out better than I think, because I was thinking so ill of everything. And the truth was things were working out better than I thought. And I was calling those things, those best case scenarios, into my life. So that's how I try to approach self-care and self-love.
Love it. Thank you for sharing. So after the rain, all right, Taylor, what's that book?
I had to really quickly. I have been all up in this book. Alex L is phenomenal. If you are not following her, she is all healing, all self-loving, and this is an amazing truth, heart, transparent read.
Look at y'all. Look at the books coming up.
Yes.
All right, I love it. Well,
let me share my book, since we're sharing.
I'm ordering that one, Nakeia. I'm ordering that like as soon as we get off.
This is what I did with my grief last year. I didn't want it to be the worst year of my life. So instead of falling to grief, I put everything in a book. So it's available everywhere books are sold. It's called I Hope This Helps.
So thank you, Nakeia. And we will make sure we share all this stuff on our platform as well, guys. So don't feel bad if you're missing it. My camera might shut off, but I'm going to say this real quick. So one of the things that I practice every morning is gratitude. I use the 5-minute journal. It allows me to set my tone for the day. Literally, you just write 3 things that will make today great. You write your things that will make that you're thankful for. And then at the end of and you write your affirmations. And then at the end of the day, you write 3 things that would have made today great. And let me make sure I got the right one. And then 3 amazing things that happened today. And then you write what could have made today even better. So it allows you to always wake up in the morning and be grateful, go to sleep and be grateful, but know you can always do better. So some of my affirmations, and once I'm done with these affirmations, we're going to close out, since we did go a little bit over time. So thank everybody for being a part of this. This was powerful. Me and April always say we're going to do a part 2 because these conversations are amazing. So we will tap back in because we need more of this. This was healing for myself as well. Yes. So my affirmations: I am enough. I am chosen. I am loved. I am more than my generational curses. I embrace love from others. I am my purpose. I am aware. I am a work in progress, and I have come to understand that my progress never ends. I can always do better. I can always do more. I can always help. I love myself unconditionally. I am allowed to say no to others and yes to myself. I deserve to take up space. Happiness, laughter, peace, and wealth surrounds me because I am worthy. My success and failures are in my hands. Compliments do not boost my confidence. My confidence comes from competence. There are no obstacles that I cannot overcome. I'll never give up on me. Confidence looks good on me. My faith has no expiration date. And I'll share this, my last one. Your interpretation of me is not my identity. So every day I do my affirmations. I hold my affirmation groups to make sure that I speak them. But also I take some from my groups and the people Oh, my last one, I guess, is I am free. I believe that I say that every day, so that's the way that I maneuver through this world, knowing that I'm a free man and knowing that regardless of what happens, as long as I move free. I know Redemption song, Bob Marley. Listen to it if you don't know what that means of freedom and freeing yourself from mental slavery. But yes, yeah, that's and then books. So Black Pearls, guys. Black Pearls is one. It's 365 days of affirmations for African Americans, daily meditations, affirmations, and inspirations for African Americans. It is powerful. It speaks to you in ways that you wouldn't think. So that's what I would recommend. Oh, and man, thank everybody for being a part of this conversation today. Thank you for what you've provided and what you have allowed even those that are watching and those that are on this call feel, because this is powerful and I love it. So I appreciate each and every one of you. We cannot wait to be able to talk to you guys again. Thank you. And you guys have an amazing day.
May everyone's day be filled with hope, love, compassion, inspiration, happiness, and benevolence.
Awesome. Have a great day, y'all. Oh, I love it.
Long and prosper.
Everybody.
Thank you for joining us and listening to the podcast. If you would like more information on the guests and the stories that you've heard today, and to hear stories from others, subscribe to the podcast. We also invite you to subscribe to Open Up Pittsburgh's newsletter, as well as our YouTube channel. We want you all to take care, and remember to make your own stories. This is April. Peace.